What is up, everybody, and welcome to another video. If you haven't heard, Universal is going to be going through some changes quite recently, and even though Horror Nights right now, it's probably blown out, you can't see it, but Horror Nights is still going on, there are some changes in this park that's going to alter how we do Horror Nights. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what's going to be changing. We're going to talk about what I think could be the possible outcomes when it comes to Halloween Horror Nights going forward. So let's get inside and let's talk about the changes. Alright, first change is not actually this zone, but turn to the right. You know that is Shrek. Shrek is actually going to be closing very soon. And I'll show you in just a second why that's important to Horror Nights. So the Shrek building is actually used for Horror Nights, if you didn't already know that. Yep, right that way is the actual haunted house that they use. So they use the other theater that they're not usually using for Horror Nights. So if a new attraction is going to come, it just might hinder where this location is going to be. So sadly, Legendary Truth might be the last location for this house. Might move to another soundstage, meaning more houses are going to be that way with the sound stages, thus making that area a little more congested. So bye bye Legendary Truth, you held the spot for the very last time, possibly. So next location is the Mummy. Well, there we go. The Mummy is going to be going down for a very long time starting next year. So actually it's going to be going down, I believe it's like January and then all the way through summer. Now, why would that affect Horror Nights? It shouldn't, but if you did not know already, the Tribute store, which I'm going to show you in just a second, actually utilizes some of the empty queue space that the Mummy has. Some of that space is going to be used for a rebuilding of the queue space, thus leaving us probably less room for a Tribute store, maybe. No one wanted to buy the Chance bus, but they did buy the Jack bus. It's now gone. It's only Chance. And by the way, there was a Chucky here. I took a picture of it. It is now gone. Unless they moved it, it's gone. So going forward, the idea is that they might just do wide rooms like this, maybe 2, maybe 3 at the max, because they have to kind of keep the main room and then the snack room is of importance. So not quite sure how far they're going to push into this, but as you can tell, beyond that door down there is the extra queue for the Mummy. So in reference, I'm not quite sure if it's going to change at all, but just be aware in case next year you come into the Tribute store and all the rooms are smaller or different. I would hope it doesn't hinder, because I like the size of this. This works for me. So believe it or not, the next change for Horror Nights is not really behind me, but it kind of relates to this, and you'll find out in just a second what I'm talking about. Now, believe it or not, Diagon Alley is still popular after all this time, and they kind of have been meaning to expand on this a little bit, so that's where we're heading to next. All this empty space back here, as you can see, is going to be utilized very soon. Now, after months, years, and many more years of the rumor of Fear Factor stage going away, it is finally set in stone that it's going away. So all of this is going to be gone. All of this that you see is going to be gone and altered for more Harry Potter. So why does that relate to Horror Nights? Well, if you didn't already know, this area is actually used for a show every single year for Horror Nights for many years. I think ever since they came back over here in HHN 16, it's been utilized for something for Horror Nights related. So what that means is this show is going away. That's going to take a large chunk of Horror Nights that eats up audience. So what are they going to do about that? Well, I'll get to that in a very quick second. So this whole area that utilizes Fear Factor is a gigantic auditorium style, stadium style seating. So if you've never been inside of here, it's a massive like chunk of area. They can rebuild this all for Harry Potter, build it up like Diagon Alley. It's supposed to be an extension, I believe, of London, possibly. So there you go. All of this is going to be now utilized for Harry Potter. So it's going to be a massive project coming soon, like in a couple years. But anyway, so with this stadium going away, it's going to leave a gap for a show. There's a couple other spots I'm going to show you and talk about where they could do a show. It's not going to be the same. Also, if you didn't know, back here is where they also have I forgot what they call this soundstage sort of tent area back here where Scary Ohio is. That's actually utilized for a Horror Nights house. No word on if all of this is going to be like taken away, or is it just from Fear Factor and on that way. So we might lose this location, we might not. So if Fear Factor goes away, where could they put a show? Well, here in the Animal Actors Stadium, they can actually do a show, believe it or not. They did a show back, God, I forgot the year, but they did a show here at Halloween Horror Nights with Brian Brushwood. So they could easily do a show back over here again. So that is a spot, although it doesn't seat as many as the Fear Factor stage. That is an option on the table. And that is it as far as the changes that are going to affect Horror Nights. What do you think about it? Leave it down in the comment section. Your thoughts, your predictions about what's going to be happening here at Universal Halloween Horror Nights going forward, and how that might change as far as the layouts and a few adjustments that we're going to have to get used to, obviously. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. We're on the road to 7K, so thank you all for tuning in. I'll catch you on another video very, very soon.